Disney's live-action remake of Snow White has seriously underperformed. This is a shock. The movie recast the classic elements of the story in a progressive light, Benedict Spence, including ditching the popular songs, including Whistle While You Work, because that could offend people who don't have a job. Replacing the seven dwarfs, apparently you can't say that, with reimagined groups of magical creatures, because that would be heightist or sexist or whatever. And they scrapped the entire sexist romance plot, because why would a woman want to fall in love anyway? She just wants to rule the world, and it would be wrong to make that out. The box office figures for a film that cost billions, really millions, an absolute disaster. And it even scored 44 on Rotten Tomatoes. I've no idea what that means. It's been panned by the critics. Have you been to see it? Are you going to see it? Would you like to make a comment about Snow Broke, as we're calling it here?
I was not planning on going to see it. I might go and see it now just to look at how bad it is. It might make me feel better about how the country is going. You see, this is even worse, possibly. But beyond that, no, I wasn't particularly planning to. But this is the latest sort of live action remake, isn't it? They've done, what is it? They've done The Jungle Book, they've done The Lion King, where they're trying to, resell these things for a sort of a modern audience. And the problem is, A, they've already done them. They already exist. Everybody knows the story. And B, they're trying to sort of shoehorn social justice agendas into these things. A good 4 or 5 years, I think, after most members of the public kind of went, do you know what? We're a bit over this now.
Yes.
This is very tired. This is very stolid, and we're not interested.
I mean, I'm so with you. You'd be amazed, wouldn't you? So, I mean, an organisation like Disney, you think would have to handle £360 million to make something that's that woke. It just doesn't work. Talking of which, in your drawing room, you will know, I know exactly what you're going to say, but I'm going to say it anyway. Rachel Reeves, or Rachel Thieves, or Richard III, as I've started calling her with Mike from Plank, risking the wrath of her paymasters, the unions, talking about upwards of 50,000 potential civil service job cuts. Now, I only have 2 points to make, and I'd love your take on this. If the Labour Party, who are in hock to the unions, can find potentially 50,000 people being paid by the taxpayer for doing a job that isn't relevant, how many bloody ones actually are there? And the second point is, why hasn't this been dealt with before? Because this is window dressing. Why didn't the Tories get rid of that? Why are people scared of the blob, Benedict?
Well, first and foremost, why didn't the Tories do it? Because the Tories were useless, right? Now we've got that out of the way.
Yeah.
We just remind ourselves, whenever you think wistfully about how much better things used to be, no, they weren't that great. They were useless. But you're right to say, actually, how bad must things actually be if even a Labour government is going, wow, there is a lot of waste going on here. A lot of people who don't need to be working here. There are a lot of people, frankly, stealing a living. And we saw this also, didn't we, when it came to the proposed cuts to things like incapacity benefits and out-of-work benefits and all that sort of thing. When it's a Labour government, which is built on people for whom social justice is in their veins, if even they are sat there going, boy, are you people really pulling a fast one. Yeah. That shows you how bad this is. So, fine, listen to the union saying, oh, this is terrible, and listen to all the charities saying, oh, it's dreadful that they're cutting the money. We already know that the country's finances are in a dreadful state. Yes. Something must be done. And if they can identify that much waste that even they can't explain away, that tells you how much of a pickle we're in.
It's just absolutely outrageous. I mean, I don't think it'll happen. But it does say an awful lot. And you hear reform. I've heard Richard Tice say, if we got into government day one, we'd attack the blob. I was asking earlier, and I can broaden this out to the ECHR. I think the British people have had enough. And you talk about financially we're not in a great place. We can't even afford the interest on the debts we've got. This country is screwed. And I think the reason why so many people are getting more and more angry about migration, and I know the bedwetters will say, oh, well, the poor people. Yes, there are people, there are refugees, very happy to do that. But it's a bit, to me, I was saying earlier, Benedict, it's a bit like we've always revered the NHS, right? We don't criticise it. The truth of the matter is the ECHR, and Harry Cole, I wrote this down because I thought it was one of the greatest lines ever, said that the ECHR means that we are still outsourcing control of so much about what this country should be making its own decisions on, and we're being screwed in the process. We are allowing left-wing lawyers to defend... I mean, what was this today? An illegal Iraqi migrant who fled his home because he basically... massive exam fraud, screwed people over, made lots. He can't go back, apparently, because he says a gang smuggler threw away his ID and phone. So he can't go. And then another one, an Albanian criminal today... He's used the ECHR. He can't go home because his son's got autism and the journey would stress him out. Honestly, Benedict, it's no, but it's
That last one sent me. The journey would spread us on out. Oh well, you should have thought of that, shouldn't you?
yeah.
Honestly, I mean, it's that thing though, isn't it? When people you hear a lot of this, a lot of Europhiles, they turn around and they go, "Well, Brexit's been a disaster, hasn't it?" And then you look at how much the ECHR has the country in a stranglehold, and you go, "What is it exactly we're meant to have left? We haven't taken back control. We haven't got sovereignty." And again, I'll go back and I'll say, "And who was it who oversaw this and allowed this to be the case?" That would be the Conservatives.
Yep.
But it's true. The ECHR and the very fact that we've got Keir Starmer talking about trying to get even greater alignment with the European
Yeah,
Union.
because he's a globalist and a human rights
Yeah.
lawyer, and it's his Bible, isn't it?
Well, he's a globalist. Is he really, though? This is the thing. All of these people, they say that they're globalists, that they're outwards, they're internationalists, but they're not interested in doing great deals with the United States, the actual driver of growth in the world, are they? Because that mean old Donald Trump, he says some bad things, man. Yeah, it's vibes. It's a lie, the whole idea that they are broad-minded and internationalists. They're not actually interested in progress. It's because it was a nice little club and they got to feel good about it. And as the end of empire, the sense of importance dissipated. But if we're inside Europe, we feel like we're part of something more important. And we get to appear to be internationalist and broad-minded. And it also helps that we can go visa-free to Tuscany or wherever it is on a holiday every year. But that's the point. We're part of this club, and it gives us a sense of importance. Whereas in reality, everyone in Europe is being dragged down, sinking to the bottom, just a little bit more slowly every year. And the difference is, if you were truly globalist and international, you'd be looking to other countries that actually are growing. But we don't want to do that because, Orange Man bad and all that.
Mate, I completely agree. I ask you this though, and I can't put it as eloquently as you. I'm looking for. I don't care what your political persuasion. I think the British people, when Trump stood and said, I'll make you safer, better off, more respected. Yes, Orange Man, baby, I get all that, right? But Kemi Benedict apparently working out where the Tories went wrong. Nigel uses the words, there's all the problems at the moment with reform. Labour seem hell-bent on destroying any small business, in fact anything, despite the fact that their number one priority is growth. Don't know how that works. But I just get the feeling, and I've sat here for 3 years, the British people were very disillusioned with politics, and I don't think they're undisillusioned. That's not a word, but I know what I'm saying. What I do think they are now is they're not going to be taken for fools anymore, and I think it's basic maths. We are. What did Graham Stewart say? We don't want to be seen to be mean. No. It's not about being seen mean. We are skint, right? We are skint, and I would challenge any politician, Benedict, to go. Explain to freezing pensioners or veterans who can't find a home or farmers. Explain to them why you're wiping the backside of people who arrive here and get a 4-star hotel and these people can't get anything. It doesn't make sense to the British people.
It doesn't make sense. And what sort of makes it worse is that, of course, lots of people point out that many countries are signatories to the ECHR, but not all of them have the same problems that we do because they just ignore the bits they don't care about.
We're always doing the right thing, aren't we? But doing the right thing in this instance, in my mind, the British right thing, is to the detriment of our own people. That's what I think.
Yeah, it is. And do you know what? Actually, here I'm probably going to upset a bit of your audience here because you were talking about how useless Labour are and how useless the Tories are. They are. I was really irritated actually when Nigel Farage was talking about deportation and how it's impossible to deport people in the numbers that people are talking about. Let's take the morality out of the equation, whether or not you want to deport many people or not many people. Take that out of the equation. It was the very classic British status. Oh, that can't possibly be done. It's very difficult. And I was just sat there going, so what is it exactly that you are offering? What's different about you? If you're just going to sit there and go, oh, sounds a bit different. It sounds a bit difficult and sounds like hard work. I'm sat there going, hang on, Nigel Farage. Aren't you supposed to be the person who's offering the can-do?
Well, that was the argument. That was the argument with the low thing, because because people were saying, is Nigel Farage moving a little bit to the centre to hoover up the votes that he would need to win, whilst in the meantime and alienating certain members of Reform voters who are thinking you're moving away from the very reason we believed in what you were saying. That's his issue, is it not? But I believe you should stay... Do you know about a week after Donald Trump got elected, sorry, I shouldn't laugh, somebody will complain, there were pictures of people on the Mexican border crying. And this woman was on the television and she was going, there's no point in trying. Donald Trump won't let us in. Yes, because that's what he said he was going to do. And that's what the American people voted for, whether you agree with the Orange Man, baby, or not. That's what I want from my politicians. Not, we'll smash the gangs. No, you ain't coming in because we can't afford you.
The first thing to say to those people is, well, why don't you try and come legally? That might be a start. Then you wouldn't run the risk of being deported for being here illegally. But I mean, the problem is, you're talking about, Nigel Farage trying to move to the centre to hoover up votes, but he's already staggeringly popular not in the centre. Why does he need to move? The centre, trying to be in the centre, is what did for the Conservatives. It's what killed them. And the problem is, if you decide then, oh, I'm going to drift to the centre to try and appeal to, I don't know, disaffected Lib Dems or whatever, sooner or later, Kemi Badenoch is toast. Let's just be clear. She's not going to make the next general election.
And what's this? I'm not going to say anything until I work it out. How long does it take you to work it out, love?
Exactly. So who is it going to be? If the Tories really do want to kill themselves, if they want to commit harry-kiri, they might select somebody like a James Cleverly. But if they want to win, they'll probably go for somebody like a Robert Jenrick. Do you think Robert Jenrick is going to move to the centre? No. What makes him popular right now amongst a lot of grassroots Tories is that he is out-Faraging Farage. He's being firmer on these things than Farage is. He's not interested in going, oh, well, mustn't upset The Guardian, must be in the centre unless Channel 4 News says something mean about me. No. He's going hell for leather in a certain direction, and whether you like it or not, that is the popular direction. That is the route to electoral victory.
Completely agree. Listen, it's great to have you back. Jackie in Bournemouth says, it's so nice to see Benedict on your show, Jeremy. I love this man. Jacqueline from Bournemouth. Okay, I don't know whether she's in care, but anyway, she's probably having therapy. But anyway, it's good to have you back, BS. BS! He's called BS! Never mind, get off.